Hi, friends. Welcome to the Mastermind Moments podcast.
Hosted by your pals, Josh and Sasha.
Join us during our weekly mastermind as we collaborate on how to make the most out of our lives.
Not only are we going to mastermind our careers, we're going to work on all areas of life together.
Let's do it. Listen in as we make the most of our mastermind moments. Hi,
Hello.
good afternoon, good evening. It feels like it's been so long since I last spoke to you. We're like strangers at this point.
Oh my God. I know. I don't even know who you are. I really like recording more than once a week, but I like that we're doing a guest and then one-on-one.
I think it's really good. I think it's really good because I think the guest, we've had some really good stuff with the guests, but I think it's really good to focus on them like we did with Adam yesterday. I think that was really nice to actually just hear everything he's been up to, but at the same time, excuse me, part of the reason I think that they're jumping on the call is to catch up with us and see what we've been up to, right? So we've got to find a balance, but I think the balance was hit fairly nicely yesterday.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love that conversation. I felt like when we had, and for the listeners, if you have not gone and listened to Adam's episode last week, go ahead and listen. We had a pal on and we've had a couple of guests on the last couple of weeks, and it's been really nice to connect with these people and really nice to catch up with them. But like in these stories about what's happening with them, what's happening with us, their experience, our experience, there's so many nuggets of wisdom in there that I'm like, oh my God, this is just so like gold.
Seriously,
Like,
in
this is
so
just
many
gold.
different areas as well. Like yesterday was like a really nice focus on business and kind of entrepreneurship. And we've had that before. We've had more emotional sort of hot tips. And yeah, I think there's been a lot of wisdom, which is great. The benefit of having so many friends from this environment, right?
I think so. I do think it's interesting though that like typically I think it's people's like comfort zone and safety zone to just keep things in business and career about what they're doing with work and like perfect like masterminding area, like masterminding just that area. And like the whole point of this podcast was not to just mastermind just your career, but like other areas of life as well, because your career isn't everything. And typically when people do masterminds, it's just that. But I feel like we typically lean that way. But honestly, I feel like it's other areas too. I feel like we lean business typically.
Yeah, with guests. Yeah, I would say so. But I think if you
guests.
think about when you go to a party, for example, and you see someone you haven't seen in so long, and they're not necessarily going to immediately open up about, oh, so how are you? What have you been up to? Well, actually, my emotions have been rubbish and my relationship is shit right now. They're not going to open up about that immediately, right? So I think the natural thing is, yeah, I've got a new job, work's going really well, I've set up this new business. It's the natural thing to lead into. So makes sense. And I think that's maybe something we can brainstorm as to how to work around that. Maybe that involves just getting people on. As I say, we've had a mix. And we've had people who don't just talk about work. And I think Adam is someone who we haven't spoken to a huge amount over the last couple of years. And so he is one of those friends you bump into a party and you haven't seen for a long time. Whereas we also have friends who we've had on before and we can have on in the future who we have an ongoing relationship with. And they're the ones who are more likely, I think, to open up about other areas of their life.
Yeah, I think so, completely. Some of the earlier guests that we had on are like very close friends of us or of ours, or at least mine. Like I'm ridiculously close to Stephanie and Mary and Katie, who we've had on, and even Valeria too, who we had on some of our first guests, like very close with them. So when we have these ongoing conversations, it is about like their physical environment or about their relationship or about their health, and not necessarily as much around like career business. Even though that I know that those are like really prominent areas in their lives, it's just not the first thing we talk about typically. So yeah, I think so. I think that's a great thing. And I know we have one more guest booked in for next week. And then I think we should send out a second round soon.
I agree. Yeah. Follow up with people who we had already reached out to, but it just didn't quite work out as well, because there are a few of those.
Yeah, agreed.
So
I'm putting it on my list.
I think we should invite more people because it's fun. It's so much fun having guests on.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the guest aspect, and I'm enjoying recording not twice a week, but sometimes that, like a one-on-one and a guest, because we can do our regular thing, our regular chat, and like get into the weeds, get a little bit deeper about things. And it's funny that like we're actually recording like on a Friday, like typically this is when I'm sending you a voice message. And I was thinking about it today because I was sitting by the pool and I was like, oh man, I could send Josh a message. We're gonna talk later. This is cool.
Yeah, yeah, here we are. Here we are. We don't need the voice messages anymore when we're
Here we
talking
are.
twice a week.
I know. Look at us. Oh my God. All right, so let's get into it. Let's spin a wheel. What challenges do you face in nurturing your spiritual growth?
I think consistency. Consistency, and the big problem for me has always been finding the higher power. Did we speak about this recently? I'm not sure if it was you or someone else who spoke to about this, but obviously as an addict and you go through the steps program, the anonymous program, and it's very focused on religion and God oriented type thing and finding that higher power, and is something that actually turned me off about the steps program because I've never really believed in God. I don't class myself as an atheist, but I'm more of an agnostic. I don't know if there might be. I'm open to the idea of it, but I don't know.
Right.
So as an agnostic or someone who doesn't know, doesn't necessarily believe in it, it's always been very hard for me to maintain that kind of higher power or the belief in a religion or spirituality. But I have always, for a very long time at least, believed in energies, and I've always, I think, struggled to harness that and actually channel it because I believe in the stuff. I just don't know how it works, and I don't think anyone knows how it works. I think it's impossible, personally, for the human brain to comprehend how the energies of the universe actually work and what it is. So I think the first thing is, yeah, consistency and getting into the practice of it, but also understanding that a higher power doesn't necessarily have to be a god. This is something that I've really learned recently with exploring my Judaism, because Judaism is very flexible in its approach, in that a god could mean energies, it could mean a man in the sky, it could mean anything. It's very much up for interpretation. And that's why I've leaned more into it since learning that, is because actually I struggle to believe in a God, but I believe in something bigger than ourselves. There is definitely something bigger than I don't think anyone can really deny that. So yeah, it's stepping into that, understanding that a higher power could mean so many different things. And that's, you can connect with that in different ways. It doesn't necessarily mean getting down on your knees and praying to a God, but it's all in your mind. The way you talk to yourself, the way you talk to others, the words you say, that can manifest itself, and that can mean, that spirituality as well. So yeah, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, I'd say the same answer for me too is consistency has always been my challenge. And I feel the most connected to like my spirituality when I'm when I am meditating regularly, but also when I'm regularly in deep reflection, like when I'm actually taking time to spend time in deep reflection and putting energy out there. And when I'm doing that, it's great. And when I'm not, and the consistency with that, specifically around meditating, has always been a challenge for me. And I'm totally aligned with you as far as my beliefs go around what I know there's something bigger out there. I feel that way. I don't think there's a man in the sky. That idea doesn't really resonate with me. And if it resonates with someone else, cool. And that's the other thing about spirituality that's really cool, is it's so individual and it's so personal to people, and it really can be whatever you want it to be, as long as it's guiding you towards living a better life and giving in a way that makes sense. But yeah, for me, I feel like it's the same. I definitely believe in the universe and energies and all of that. I definitely believe in something higher. It's just not, I don't believe in some big man in the
No.
sky. That's just not something that's ever
Yeah, no, I
resonated
hear
with me.
that. Do you identify with a religion? Is there something that you've grown up with, your family?
Actually, no, we never talked about this before.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay. So my mom was raised Catholic, and my very Catholic, and she actually has a lot of religious trauma around growing up in such a strict household around that, and she has to do a lot of inner work through that. But because she was raised that way, she went the opposite route with me, where I want my child to be able to choose what religion they want to be. So she didn't put me in any sort of organized religion whatsoever. My dad considers himself a Hindu, but my dad's a Hindu, but does he practice any Hinduism? I don't know. I don't really think so. He's not, I think Hindu culturally, but I don't think he's like a practicing Hindu where he's like praying and following that really. So I was like, and honestly, like I couldn't even tell you, like I could tell you like maybe 2 or 3 Hindu gods, but I couldn't tell you anything beyond that at all. Like I was not really exposed to. I was exposed to a lot of a general idea about a lot of different religions. Honestly, growing up, I was mostly exposed to Judaism
Of
because I
course.
was in a town that was like 60% Jewish. Like there were like 10 temples on my street. I went to a million bar and bat mitzvahs growing up. Everyone was Jewish in my town. So it was like I was so exposed to it. And then like I had some really close friends who were like Christian or Catholic. So I was exposed to a bunch of different religions growing up, but like I was never raised in one myself. My mom felt very strongly about me being able to choose for myself. And I would say I'm a spiritual person. Like I do believe in something, but I really couldn't put like a name or a word or a
No,
container on
okay,
it.
enough. And I think I've been that way for most of my life. I identify as Jewish kind of ethnically, but never by religion, and people have always been so confused by that. And I'm trying to step more into the religion now. There's that whole thing we spoke about last week. I tell you what, who would be a really interesting person to raise this question with again is next week with our next guest, Lauren, because she is
Mm.
pretty religious. Like she's a big believer in God and Jesus, and it's something I've always actually really admired about her. I've always looked at her and thought, I wish I could have that kind of love for a spiritual presence and this passion behind it that is very big in the US, right? You don't really see that kind of thing here. Like very people in the States are very passionate about Jesus and about their Christianity. At least in my experience, that's what I've seen. And I've always really admired it in many ways. I wouldn't want it for myself, but I have watched people like Lauren and I've thought, why don't I convert? Why don't I become a Christian and start going to mass every week? Just because it must be really nice and comforting to have that kind of thing that you believe in and love so much and feel the love from that, from Jesus as well. It's really interesting. I've told her before that I really admire it. So I think it'd be an interesting question to raise with her next week.
Yeah, we should definitely get into the spirituality talk with Lauren next week for sure. I think, especially with your kind of like newfound passion for exploring your spirituality and me also becoming a little bit more consistent with my spirituality as well recently within the last week or so. Haha. That'd be really interesting thing to chat about with Lauren. So, hey guys, tune in next week for a
There you go. Some
spirituality
Jesus
chat with
talk.
our pal Lauren. Some Jesus talk. Yeah. It's true though. I have met like when people are, I don't know, there's like a scale of what religion you are and like how passionate you are about it too. There are people to the point where they shove it down other people's throats. There are people who are just like very chill about it. I feel like with you in the cultural aspect, like that's just something that I'm so used to seeing, like Judaism wise, just growing up. Like I know so many people who feel the exact same way that you do. I think that's how my high school sweetheart, that was his approach to Judaism as well growing up too, is like culturally he's so identified with the Jewish culture and then not as much the religion.
School sweetheart that I know.
And
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
No, right, I wasn't
that was the
sure.
only
Yeah.
high school, well, I guess, unless you consider like
Haha.
Steph's
But he's
brother,
not
but I
Jewish.
only, no, he's not Jewish. And I only dated Steph's brother for
Yeah.
6 months
Yeah.
or so. Yeah, like before. Like this is why there's this whole thing about me not being single for longer than 6 months since I was 14 is because I had Steph's brother and then I started dating my high school sweetheart. I call him the guitarist online. That's his name online. I started dating him like maybe 2 months after. And then I was with him for 4.5 years. And then there was 6 months between him and my ex, my big ex. That's
Yeah, that is
nutty.
crazy. That's how I first heard about you. That's how I first knew your name is because of Steph's brother. Because we were
No
really close
way.
because he was in my dorm that year at Gills. The same year I was in the dorm with Adam as well, actually. And we had
Yeah.
Adam, we had John, we had Cam. It was an unbelievable dorm. And yeah, so I knew John and we kept in touch afterwards. And then I heard about you guys and I was like, oh, this was the first time I'd heard your name. And you became somewhat of a bit of a celebrity in that world well, just because I was friends with John.
Yeah. Fair. I guess so. It's funny because like my first I guess like I knew your sister before I knew you because in our first year I
Yeah.
dormed with your sister. So it was funny, like who I was talking to her Oh, I think it was on my personal podcast. We like had a whole conversation about it, and don't forget, I was friends with you first. Even though Josh is your best friend
Yeah,
now, like
that
we
sounds
were
like Bella.
friends first. Yeah, it does sound exactly like Bella. And we had a whole ass conversation about that on the pod and about what
And
all of
speaking of
that.
which,
So
she
it
we
was
actually need
funny.
to, because we cancelled or she cancelled. I think we both cancelled, and so we need to follow
Yeah.
up on that because she'd be a good one to have on. Should be fun.
To get into the meat of the episode, I know we had a chat yesterday with Adam, and for the listeners, it was last week for you guys. But like, what else has been happening with you? What else has been going on?
Not a huge amount, to be honest. There's not really much to dig into. You probably can't tell. It probably looks the same as yesterday, but yesterday I was saying how the sun wasn't shining and we're done. It's winter now. It's a beautiful day today. It's 25 degrees Celsius. It is sunny, blue skies, and I feel invigorated. I feel amazing. Like it's, oh God, it's such a problem. It's such a problem, but it's not a problem because it's okay.
I think you should really like get on this while it's like nice out because you're not gonna have any motivation to do it before it gets dark. Actually, I do have a question about something that we didn't talk about yesterday. I know Savita just moved in. How's it going?
Yeah, so it's going well. Well, it's obviously an adapting period for both of us, I think. One thing I was going to bring up as slight negative, but it's more on my side, um, because most areas of my life are pretty good at the moment. But I feel a lot of guilt right now for living my life, right? So we're living together and we're together all day, every day, pretty much because we both work from home. And this Saturday, for example, I have pretty much got a fully booked day. I'm going to synagogue actually tomorrow morning, which is my first synagogue experience in the UK since I was like 14, so in a long time. And then I'm going straight from there to meet my friends, to meet a few of my boys, and then straight from there to a birthday party, and then straight from there to a football match. And so it's a pretty much booked out day. And when I spoke to Savita about it, I felt really guilty telling her. Like I felt this immense kind of, yeah, just guilt is the best way to put it. Just I felt really bad about leaving her for a day. And obviously it has to happen sometimes, right? And we are going to be together probably 99% of the time. And there's going to be a 1% where it's like tomorrow where I go off and I do my own thing for a day. And it's this happening in a couple of weeks where I'm going away for the weekend. She's also going away because I'm going away. But I think it's really important that we continue to live our own lives. I think a problem from my side is that we haven't really lived like this throughout our relationship. Most weekends, the vast majority of weekends, we spend it together. It's some quality time we can have, a couple of days together, no work, nothing else to focus on except for each other. And that's partly why I think I feel so guilty about it. And I think it's an adapting period for her as well, because it's a new thing for her. She's so used to being with me the whole time. It's, yeah, so that's a bit difficult. And I don't really know how to tackle that. I think it's probably just an exposure therapy type thing. The more it happens and the more time passes, we'll both get used to it. And again, it's not going to be a frequent situation. The other part I will add to that, which we spoke about this afternoon, Savita and I, is not technically, tomorrow is our 18 months anniversary. And so
It's
year
like
and
a
a half,
year and
yeah,
a half.
exactly. So
Yeah.
to me, like I had it in my diary, like I had it in my calendar. I have it in my calendar every month as a reminder on the 20th of every month. This is our anniversary, a monthly anniversary, just so I can say something, do something nice. But 18 months is, yeah, I guess more significant than a just standard monthly anniversary. And so that's adding to the guilt a little bit. And I think she's also realized that this afternoon and she's like, well, that sucks that we're not going to be together for pretty much the whole day. And it does. I don't blame her at all. It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one because I made these plans and I didn't really think about it. I was like, yeah, it's the 20th and it's 18 months, but I'll buy her flowers. I'll make a fuss and say happy 18 months in the morning, and that'll be that. We're not going to go for dinner. We're not going to do any special plans because it's not 2 years. It's not like an annual celebration. So that's adding to the guilt. And that's something I'm struggling with a little bit at the moment.
Yeah, I can see that. I think it's honestly like right now, as you guys just move in together, it's a really important period to set the tone for the rest of your time. Assuming that you guys continue your relationship and it develops and you guys get married and whatever, like right now, living together, you're setting the tone and foundation for how you guys want to live through the rest of your time together. And something that's super important with that is number one, I do think this is just my personal opinion on it, but I stand pretty firm on it, is I do think that couples should have their own individual independent lives and then also a life together. And you see it all the time when like couples are coupling and they don't have their own individual lives. And you see it when you have a friend who they get a boyfriend or a girlfriend and they completely disappear. Like you never hear from them. You never see them anymore. It's something I actually had to call one of our friends out about once she got into a relationship and didn't hear from her forever. And she said, oh, well, you know how it is with a relationship. I'm like, you're 6 months into your fucking relationship. Of
Yeah.
course. Talk to me 5 years down the line when you guys have your own lives. Like, I do think having independent lives is really important. And you guys are not going to be together. And especially if you work from home and you live together, like having the separation is important. And being able to miss each other creates like really healthy tension and creates really healthy dynamics to have some time to be separate, to have some time away from each other. Because if you're together 24/7, like when you're working together and living together, you like go out for a date night, what the hell are you going to talk about?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the weather? You want to be able to come home from all your things and be like, oh my God, let me tell you all about my day. Tell me all about your day. I want to hear everything about it. It creates like fun, it creates energy, and it allows you space to miss each other too, which is super important, especially as you guys live together. It creates healthy missing each other, even for a day, even for a couple hours, is like a very healthy thing to do. And I get that you feel the guilt around it, specifically around the fact that it's 18 months. And that makes sense. But it's also just like in the grand scheme of things, you're right. It's not like a huge annual anniversary. And Savita's love language, she loves gifts. You'll just get her a gift and that'll be that. And like you guys might do something celebratory on Sunday instead. And I think it's a really great opportunity to sit down. And in the same way I said, oh, sit down and talk about what chores you guys like, what chores you guys fucking hate. Like, also sit down and figure out your boundaries around like scheduling. Is there a time every week that's just for you guys? Unless there's some sort of exception to be made about something that's happening. Like, for example, is Friday night always your night? Like just for quality time? Or is Sunday always your day? Like, unless obviously something comes up, whatever. But sit down, and sometimes scheduling is like helpful. Just be like, oh, this is always our time. And the rest is like flexible to be like, go out with your friends. Go out for a workout class, go to synagogue, go have Savita go out with her gal pals. Like, it's helpful to have your own lives, but it's also something to sit down and think about. A shared calendar is really helpful. Like, I will say
I
that.
think that's actually a really good idea. It's not something that crossed my mind. I think, yeah, that's a really interesting idea. I think for the most part, we know each other's week and what that looks like. But I think that's a helpful concept. The other thing you mentioned about losing your life when you get into a relationship. So my like two best friends in the UK, we have a little sort of boys group. There were originally 5 of us, 2 of them have left the country now. And now there's 3 of us, and pretty much within a month of each other, give or take, we were all in relationships. So around March last year, we all got into relationships that we are still in. And we went from seeing each other pretty much weekly, sometimes every couple of weeks, but a lot, to hardly ever. Because once every couple of months recently, if that, we hardly ever see each other. We don't really talk much. The group chat's dead. We've all lost that connection in a way that it was a really special connection that we used to have, because we're so focused on our relationships. And I don't think that's a bad thing in the early days of a relationship. I get it. But I think it gets to a point where you have to have your own life. And I think it's really important to do that. So one of our boys, for example, like the last, I want to say 7 or 8 times that we've arranged to meet, boys dinner, boys drinks, at the last minute, we'll be on our way there and there'll be 10 minutes before we arrive and he'll go, oh, by the way, my girlfriend's coming. And it's just, like we never get any quality time, just the three of us anymore, because we're all in relationships. He clearly very much puts his girlfriend first and on a pedestal. I do too, to the extent like I'm meeting them tomorrow. And because I felt so guilty about leaving Savita, I invited her. But I did run it past him first. I didn't leave it for the last 10 minutes. So, yeah, I think it's really important to make sure that those boundaries are set early on, like you were saying, to set the tone from the get-go. So I think that's something that, yeah, we need to, and we've sat down a couple of times and we've spoken about it, and I think we're both on the same page. But I think it's probably about drawing out some rules of what that looks like to set the tone as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just like a matter of figuring out what balance works for you guys, what boundaries work for you guys. And I think the scheduling, as there were a lot of things that were not great about my relationship, but I will say like the time split was really, I mean, towards the end, it was actually pretty rough. But in general, like the scheduling of our time was like down to a science, and it really helped. Also, like I'm a disciplined routines person, so it was really helpful for me to know this is my time with my partner, this is my time to have by myself, this is my time to be with my friends or do this or work on my job or work on my business or whatever. And like having those structures like enabled me to, it's the same thing as like wheel of life, right? What time are you putting towards your physical health? What time are you putting towards your career? What time are you putting towards your relationship? And what time are you putting towards your friends or your family or your spirituality? Like, it's important to allocate time and energy towards each of those things. And some will be different, some will be bigger than others, but it's important to, in the same way that the things will go up and down, you have to put time and energy into each of those things in order to grow them. But I will say the shared calendar helps a ton. And then just sit down and have the conversation, like, about, hey, like, no matter what, one night a week, we have our quality time, like date night, date day, whatever. And then the rest of the time is a little bit more flexible. But no matter what, we will always have this one piece of time, even if that changes from like whenever, like Saturday versus Sunday versus Friday, schedule it in. So that way, like, even if you go out and do your own thing, you know you're still going to get that quality time at some point during the week.
Absolutely. I think that's a really good idea. Yeah, that wouldn't have even crossed my mind, like, at all. So I appreciate that, and I think it's something that we'll talk about, and I'll suggest it. So yeah, that's pretty much all. Recently, I think it's partly because of the weather. My BPD has really been playing up, actually. Like, it's been really intense the last few days, which hasn't been much fun at all. It's been pretty horrible. And I came back from Tomorrowland with the goal of, we spoke about this, I was like, I'm going to go into DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, for this, because that's the best treatment for BPD. And I did this. I started researching it. I went into different therapies. I actually went into just a basic counseling therapy in the end. And that was rubbish, but I thought I've paid for a month. I'll see it out for the month. And then the month passed. I went to Israel. I was like, I'll look into it. But when I'm back from Israel, and I got back, and it's been a week now since I've been back. And I am only just taking the steps because it got so intense the last few days that I was like, I have to get this sorted. I can't keep using it as an excuse for how I feel. And I think something, I spoke to my mum about it yesterday, and something that I really struggle with is I go through these phases where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get therapy for it. And then a couple of weeks pass and I'm meditating, I'm doing certain things. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need therapy. It's fine. I can do it myself. And then an attack happens, an episode happens. And suddenly I realize that actually this is a very serious disorder. It's not something that I can just shrug off and wave away. It's something that ends lives in a lot of cases. It's a really serious disorder that the whole point is you lose control. So how can I think that I can control it myself without any kind of training or therapy? So I had a call actually this afternoon with a sort of a DBT therapist. So I'm going to spoken to them. Pricing wise, it's not bad. I need to book in an assessment. So yeah, I'm taking the right steps, but that's been pretty rough this week as well in terms of, and we spoke about this yesterday, mental health. But I think I probably watered it down a little bit yesterday because it wasn't just feeling low and low energy. It was like the BPD has been really bad recently, but we're working on it. We're heading in the right direction, that's for sure.
Okay, and you've booked the therapy because the last time we had a conversation around that, you said you were starting it, but I haven't heard
Well,
much
so I
about
so
it
I started
since.
therapy, but it was just a basic kind of like counseling. It was not related to BPD.
Yeah.
Thought I'd try it because it was cheap, but naturally cheap things tend to be cheap quality for the most part. So yeah, and that's what I got. It wasn't great. It was someone to talk to every week, but I have you for that. You're my therapist.
Let's go, bruh.
But no, yeah, it didn't help me very much. So now I stopped that.
Yeah, something specific for
Exactly. So I
BPD.
cancelled it,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, now I need to focus on something specific for BPD. So we're all good.
Yeah.
We're all good.
And you've booked that, and
Well,
that's like
so
kind of
I
in the
spoke to them
process of
today.
starting
They've
up.
emailed me. I need to book the assessment. It's pretty cheap, to be honest, like
Okay.
$150. So it's not too bad at all. So I
Yeah.
need to do that, and I'll do that probably after this call. To be honest, I'll book the assessment.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, good. It's good that you're going to take actual steps towards moving for this because I know that that last outbreak in Tomorrowland like really put things into perspective, and I'm glad you're like taking steps to actually address it proactively because we don't want it to slip, especially with other things mental
No.
health wise like that are going to impact you.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, all good, all good. And I think the sun's shining, so things feel much better today. But it's
All I'm hearing is that we really need to move to Florida. And oh, I'm so upset the Savita's not on board for our compound. I'm so sad about it. I wonder if she would go for houses in the
is she
same
not?
neighborhood. No, she fully told me no. When I pitched the compound to her, she was like, no, it's
Really?
not happening. I was like,
Sounds
yeah.
so unlike her. Because also it sounds like the kind of thing that would
I
be
was
right
like,
up her street.
no, she was like, well, she didn't say no, but I could, in her
Haha.
face, she was like, I don't think so. I was like, Savita, why are you breaking my fucking
Yeah.
dreams right now of living with all of my
I reckon
best friends
I
in
reckon I
sunny
could talk her
Florida?
into it. The psychic that we both saw a few months ago that blew up my
Yeah.
mind. He told her that she's going to end up in North America. So I feel like that's a sign, right?
I feel like we're all going to end up moving. I feel like it's going to be San Diego or fucking Florida, to be
Well,
honest. Because we need the sunshine. And I'm seriously considering that for like
yeah.
where I'm moving
Well,
permanently.
he said we were talking about Bella, and he was like, "You're not going to end up in LA," but he didn't rule out San Diego, so I wouldn't be adverse to that.
Yeah, and I know Mary and Adam love San Diego too.
He
So
doesn't. He doesn't.
it's
Except us.
who doesn't?
But
Yeah, we'll just make
exactly. If you're
tons of
making
money.
enough money, it doesn't fucking matter. But how are you? What's up?
How am I? Honestly, was something we had a chat about yesterday. Actually, let's get into it because I've been so good up until today. And today I've still been good, but I've been a little bit emotional today, just like on the brink of tears, about half the day. And it's interesting to feel the difference between, and I know you don't experience this because you're not a woman, but like I can feel the difference in my body of being emotional about something actually, and then being emotional about something physiologically because of where I'm at in my cycle. So I can feel that difference, and I know it's like it's before my period, and it's like always a good sign to me that I get emotional before my period. I'm like, okay, great, I know it's coming. So it's a good sign for me in that way, and it's easier for me to deal with. And today, like, I was a bit emotional, like no breakdowns or anything. It was just like felt on the verge of tears, and specifically more around missing the Paris house and my friends there and Monsieur 66 and all of that. It's when I left the house at the time, it looked like all of my friends were also going to be leaving the house. But then once I left, like everyone's, oh no, we're staying. So everyone's still there. Monsieur 66, he did move out before me, but he's also visiting there right now, and which doesn't help. But I don't know. I do feel a lot of FOMO around it. Like I've talked to today like 4 or 5 people from the house. Like I'm talking to people from the house every single day. I do miss them a ton. I miss my life there a lot. And like mental health wise, I'm great. I'm feeling great here. I'm really enjoying it today. Today's Friday. Instead of going and doing a tour, I actually stayed in all day and worked all day, which I didn't plan on doing. I just planned on working for half the day and then going out and wandering or like hanging by the
Yeah.
pool. But I didn't do that at all. I literally worked all day, and I think I sat by the pool for 30 minutes. A cat took my chair hostage.
No, really? An aggressive cat?
Yeah.
Oh, it just
No, just like a
okay.
random ass cat. Like it has a collar, like, and it's been hanging out around this like place for a bit, and I literally put my stuff down on this like chair. There's only one chair, by the way, which is fucking weird. And the cat literally walks up to the chair, and I get up because the cat's coming towards me. And I was like, okay, what the hell's happening? And the cat jumps up on the chair and takes all my shit hostage and just sits there. And until after I leave, like I literally left my sarong on the chair because the cat was sitting on top of it. I'm like, okay, I'll come back for it later. I ended up getting it later, but yeah, I just worked the rest of the day. And it felt really good this is my to-do list. Do you see how much I just crossed
That's for
out?
one day. Wow.
Yes.
Wow, good for you.
And the two things on here too are like things that are not super, the other two things that are only, the last two things that I didn't get done today are not super urgent and they can be done anytime. So I felt really good about everything I accomplished today, and it felt good to catch up on work and feel like I'm in a good spot with a lot of things.
And how do you feel about,
But
you've dedicated a day to work? Because obviously we've been talking about how hard you're finding it to balance work and play and while you're traveling or not just work and play, just work in general, right? So having dedicated a
yeah,
whole day to work, how does that feel in terms of that balance?
it feels pretty good. Honestly, like there was FOMO. I'm not gonna lie, like I did have FOMO. I'm like, oh man, I really should be out exploring Chiang Mai. I really should be out walking and wandering around. I'm staying in this really cool neighborhood that's like a really popular neighborhood. I should be out and about. It's Friday. Like Friday is my day to sign off early and to wander. And now I'm here at 11 o'clock at night and I'm still working. I've been working from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. with maybe, I'll call it like 1 to 2, like maybe I've taken like a cumulative 2-hour break today. But yeah, I've been working all day and it feels good in terms of productivity, but like I do have a little bit of FOMO and a little bit of guilt around, oh, I'm here and I had to take advantage of my time. But then I also booked what I'm doing for the next 4 days. Like I know what I'm doing around the next 4 days here while I'm here. So I feel okay about the balance. And I think it's okay to take a day to rest and take a day to get my shit together. Two things I really wanted to talk to you about, like actually masterminding. So the first, we started to talk about it before. I don't know. Should we go the romance side or should we go the career
Whatever you
side
want to
first?
do. I
What do
mean,
you
we were
think?
talking about the romance, so why don't we jump into it?
Okay, so we started to talk about it before we recorded, and Josh is like, actually, we can mastermind this on the podcast, like press record. So I was like, okay. Basically, I talked to Monsieur 66 for the first time on the phone yesterday, and I have not, since leaving him, so I have not heard his voice in over a month, and we've been texting since we've been apart, but it might be 8 to 10 texts in a row about like 4 different things, and it's like a respond whenever. It can be respond in a couple hours, couple days, no big deal. When we first started hooking up, we set like really great boundaries about neither of us being in a space to get into a relationship and both of us wanting our own time and space to do our own thing and explore our own thing. And that feels really good that we're both honoring that. But I do know that we're both still thinking about each other. And it's interesting that, I don't know, it's interesting that I know we're both in the same spot as far as like how we feel about this relationship thing, whatever it is. My therapist told me yesterday that this is the healthiest relationship I've ever been in, including my ex. I also have heard through like his best friend, like 2 of his best friends, that like he said the same thing and they've seen the same thing, that this is the healthiest thing that he's ever been in. And which is like interesting to see. And of course, I'm not in a space yet to get into a relationship at all. And I'm not in a space to be considering what I feel myself getting there and inching there, like about getting clear about what I want in in a long-term partner and in a partner. I just don't feel like I'm quite there yet. And I think it's just in general, I'm in a space right now and I feel myself getting closer and closer to it. I want to get very clear about what I want in my life and in all areas of life, like wheel of life, like full, like wheel of life. I'm feeling like really, it's like on the edge of my tongue, like wanting to get super, super clear about what I want in all areas of life. And some areas feel like way more clear than others. Like, for example, my romance and my physical environment do not feel clear at all. They do not feel clear at all. I do not know where I want to live. I do not know what I want in a partner. Or like I have ideas about things I want in a partner, but not like the whole like perspective of it all. And then my career feels like that's the piece I really want to focus on as far as getting clear about what I want, and we can get into it. But I don't know. It's interesting. Monsieur Soissons might join me for a piece of the Asia leg while I'm here. Of course, I fantasize about what a relationship would look like with him, but there are some, if we did decide to get into something, I would need to sit down and have a very frank conversation with him about what I want with my life, what I want in a partner, and if that's aligned with him and what he wants as well, and what he wants in a partner. Not that I'm even there yet, though. Like, I feel like I had to be so careful and set like really firm boundaries with myself about not letting myself like jump to what's a relationship gonna look like, because what am I
You're not there.
doing?
Yeah, listen, I
I'm
feel
not
like
there yet.
I'm staying silent because you're masterminding this yourself. You are in a position where you're in something, or not in something necessarily, but you're talking to someone and have been with someone who, yeah, is healthy, right? I haven't heard an unhealthy kind of aspect of your relationship with him, except for the fact that he lives in France and it would be a long distance type thing. But
Potentially, but also he doesn't want to live in
right.
France anymore, and he also wants to
Okay,
nomad.
well, so I think I gave you this advice with Dr. Leprechaun. I think this was something that we rolled with at the time. It's very much a case of go with the flow. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't jump into something too quickly. Just see where it progresses and set those boundaries with yourself to ensure that you don't jump into it too quickly, and that your head and heart don't jump ahead further than they need to. So I think setting those
Yeah.
boundaries was really important. But yeah, just going with the flow, letting time do its thing. And when the time comes, you
Yeah.
don't need to be thinking right now about, okay, well, I'm going to set these boundaries and I have to know, he has to know that this is what I want from a partner and this is what the future looks like for me and this is what the future looks like for my partner. You don't need to be thinking about that now, right? You cross that bridge when it comes to it. And
Yeah.
yes, you have to set those boundaries when it does come and have that conversation when it does come. But it's not something you need to be thinking about right now. Right now, just flow like water.
Just flow. Flow, don't force. Flow,
Exactly.
don't force. You're completely fucking right. You're completely fucking right. And you know what's crazy about that, just in general, is I think this is like a broader challenge I think I'm experiencing right now in general is, and this is something that came up quite a lot in the beginning of my digital nomad journey, is this like this desperation for certainty. Right now in my life, when a lot of things are very up in the air, like there are certain things in my life that feel so solidified. Like my friends and my family feel so solidified. Like it's not even funny. Like I feel so great in my relationships outside of romantic relationships. I feel incredible in my relationships. They're so fulfilling to me right now. And a lot of other areas too are like rock solid. But it's like I find that romance is an area, and honestly like a lot of things, like I feel like because so much of my life right now is uncertain, I'm like trying to claw and like grasp at this certainty, and instead of just flowing and trusting the universe and just being okay with it, I'm like automatic, my futuristic mind and my certainty, like the certainty driven Sasha and the type A Sasha and the whatever is like, but I have to know. And the truth is,
Have to know. And it's one of those things you can't know.
I
And
don't
if
have
you
to know.
try to tell yourself you have to know or try to believe that, it's just going to cause you unnecessary stress and anxiety. And it's one of those things that right now, uncertainty is something you really need to lean into.
Yeah. This is really what I needed to hear. This was see, you're my therapy too. I don't know.
I'm telling you, I've been
I
saying
don't
this
know
since
what.
day one. This is like a mutual therapy session.
Actually, yeah, like it's so incredible. I'm obsessed. Even listening to it back too is like really healing. Like I love listening to our podcast because it's also crazy that I'll say something that'll be like weeks or months before, and then it'll show up in a very different way when it's happening, and I'm like, oh, okay, hello, cool. So yeah, I think you're right. I think leaning into uncertainty, flowing and not forcing, like really just allowing whatever's going to happen and not trying to control the outcome of anything.
That's it. I think that's
Yeah.
just in the
So
kind of birthing, that's a horrible word, in the early stages of any kind of relationship, even friendships, if you feel that passionately about early friendships. But it's really important to just let it flow, and whatever.
let
So
it
you can't
flow.
force something good. If it's meant to be, it will be, and you just have to let it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is something to definitely lean into and something to like for me to really sit in as I'm moving through all of this. Wow. That feels incredible just thinking about it. Okay, that's one area. And another area I really have been wanting to talk about with you, and I like even said yesterday, I'm not going to talk about this with the guest because I'd rather chat about it with you, is my career right now. And we might have talked about this previously. Right now, I feel like I'm at the cusp. I feel like I'm playing a video game right now, and I'm at the end of a level, and I'm about to slay the dragon and get to the next level in this game. And I just feel right at the cusp of like huge jumps in both my 9 to 5 job and in my podcast. And in the 9 to 5 job, I feel like a little bit conflicted about a couple of things with it. First of all, like, I think it's really difficult and I need to give myself more grace and more credit because like I was able to manage a business and a 9 to 5 job so well when I was living in Miami and so well when I was having like my own structure, my own routine. But if you throw in traveling full time, it is like a lot of time and energy taken towards something else. And I don't honestly, I think about how I've been managing it all and I don't know. I don't know how I've been doing it, truthfully, like for 10 months, almost, yeah, like 9 months at this point. And I feel like I'm at a point where I know if I like with these three things, right? Like the job, the 9 to 5, the business, and the full-time travel, like I think I can manage 2 out of 3 of them and give it 100%. Like I think I could give 2 out of 3 of them 100%. But right now, because I'm doing 3, I can only give each of them like 60 to 70%. Like I can't really give them each that much more. And I feel like I'm low-key half-assing it. Like not really, like the work is still getting done, right? Like I'm still producing the same amount of work for the podcast. I'm still getting all the shit at my job done. I just know I could be like excelling and could be like really thriving if I had like more time and energy to put into the business and the 9 to 5, or if I was only doing one. And I've gotten to a point where at my 9 to 5 job, my bosses have told me straight up, they're like, tell us where you want to go and we will take you there. Tell us where you want the role to go. We will take you there. And I'm like, oh shit, I haven't even thought about it because all my career advancement efforts have been towards my own business. Like I haven't really been thinking about climbing the corporate ladder, even though I really care about this company and I love this company and I do want to grow with them. It hasn't been like my main effort. And I do think like being remote also plays a factor in that as well. My work wife is in person and she's been growing way faster than me and she deserves it. Like she's busting her ass and she's such an important part to the team and deserves it. I'm like, I know if I was in person and didn't have a business and wasn't traveling full time, like I would also be a superstar at the job. But like my company does not know my full
No.
capabilities of working. Like they don't know. And they've never known because I've always had
Course.
my own side
Yeah.
hustles
That makes
going.
sense. But
Yeah.
then my question is, how long are you intending on traveling for?
So I think traveling like this just until just like the new
And
year,
then
basically.
what's the alternative? Because you said traveling like this, so what's the other side of that?
So traveling like this means I'm bopping from, with the exception of France, right? I've been bopping from place to place less than like faster than less than 2 weeks. So I don't know how to phrase that correctly, but basically I'm traveling like at least every 2 weeks, or how do I phrase that correctly? At least every 2 weeks, because it's like shorter than 2 weeks most of the time, like with the exception
Yeah,
of France.
fast-paced travel. And how did you find it in
Yeah,
France? Because I know obviously you were in France and you were staying in one place for the most part, but you were very busy. So how did you manage it
I
with
was very
work
busy.
there? Was it easier at all?
Yes and no. Like the 9 to 5, it was a little bit easier because I was going into the office 2 days a week. Like I had 2 days like dedicated to like being in the office and like having 100% focus on my work and doing that. So in that way, yeah, it was easier in some ways. And because I didn't have this like travel list going or the admin list going, like I really could just focus on the business, the 9 to 5, and enjoying my time and my friends and being social at
Yeah.
that point.
So I think, is there a potential happy medium whereby you can do what you've done today, for example, and dot these kind of days around? If you're spending longer in each bit, if you're going to continue to travel beyond this year, instead of jumping around every couple of weeks, can you focus on staying for longer, but then having days where you are able to kick back and, well, kick forward and work for a whole day or 2 days every week to just focus on what you need to do and clear out a to-do list, just make your life much easier. Because I think if you're in, I don't know how long you're in Chiang Mai for, but if you're in Chiang Mai for a certain amount of time, let's say a week, 2 weeks, you feel panicked to A, do your work, and B, travel and see the sights. Whereas if you're somewhere for longer, you have those days like today where you can afford to do that.
Yeah. Well, after this year, I don't plan on traveling like this after this year. It's very difficult, and it's tough. It's tough on the body, it's tough on the mind, it's tough on the wallet. It's tough. The idea right now, right, and this could change. The idea right now is I'm considering 5 cities to live in permanently. I think next year, unless something drastic happens, a really crazy opportunity comes up, which you never know, I plan on spending like extended time in those, like anywhere between 3 and 5 cities. And I would want to like try out what it's like to live there. Actually, like in the same way that I did for France, and I think I would do it again for France. I would just go for the summer and spend 3 months in Paris for the summer. And I would go to the other cities that I'm considering and spend extended time there. And that way I could like immerse myself in a life and also try it out. Like, how does it look? What does my life look like if I'm doing these things? And that's my idea for next year if I haven't landed on one specific place before then. But I can't see myself landing in a specific place. And like, I really only see that happening if I get a crazy career opportunity somewhere, or if there's any type of, I don't even want to say that there's like a type of relationship thing that would like make me do that, because I really wouldn't want to make that decision based on a boy either. But let's just say, like, those are the only things I could see myself changing the plan for. But that's just the idea right now, because I truthfully don't know where I want to move or live yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think I want to spend some time in deep reflection too about not just the 9 to 5, about like where I want that to go, but also the podcast as well. Like, how can I innovate? How can I improve? Like, I feel right at the cusp of something there too. And I know that I know the innovations that can happen. I just don't have the bandwidth right now.
I feel it feels like you're in a position where you've got huge possibilities in so many different ways in terms of where you're going to live next year onwards. And that's one thing. But then if we're talking about your career, your company wants to progress you. They see a future with you. They see a big future with you, it sounds, which is great. So there's huge possibilities there. With the podcast, as you say, is growing in a certain way. You feel like you're on the cusp of something there, and the possibilities are huge there as well. And I think now is probably not the right time to be making a call on whether to quit your job, quit the podcast, or to take the podcast in a certain direction, take work in a certain direction. I think it's probably right now a transition phase where you need to give it a bit more time and see where it goes. I feel like it's exactly what I said about the relationship stuff as well. But it's true. I think time is really important in this case, because I think it sounds like too soon to be making any major calls, especially as you near the end of this year of travel. I think it'll be really interesting to see how things progress once you settle down a bit next year. That is, that's really important as well.
I think it's something I didn't even consider. It's like, I really do need to be gentle, and I've been like so impatient almost with my growth in these areas. And now that I feel like I'm really at the cusp of something, like my impatience is very real, but it's also just like, I need to give myself grace. I literally am traveling full time and doing this full time, and I'm towards the end of it. Like, I really want to enjoy my last
Absolutely.
2.5 months.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And have you,
Like,
would you
when
say
am I
that
gonna do
you've
this
enjoyed
again?
the last 9 months for the most part? Yeah.
Oh yeah, like I've had so much fun, and that was the focus this year, right? Is to like have fun, and
Exactly.
I've just been prioritizing like, okay, how can I have as much fun as
So
possible?
have you
Truthfully.
back on the last 9 months, say, look back on where you were 6 months ago and think, man, work was so crazy, so stressful, it really took away from my experience? Or are you focusing on what a good time you had?
I'm definitely focusing on what a great
So I
time I
think
had.
that's the focus for the next couple of months, is to see out the rest of the year and keep doing what you're doing, because you're going to look back on this year and go, holy shit, I had such a fucking great time. And yes, you can look back and think, okay, it also taught me these lessons about work that have led me to where I am today. But that's also a positive. I think you've been taught lessons this year about balancing work, life, work. And I think you're going to take those into next year and really thrive and make some really big decisions, but really exciting decisions to take your job or your business in a certain direction. So I think time is very much of the essence, at least for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think what I feel like the advice you gave was so similar for both is like flow, don't force.
Exactly.
You don't need to have the answers right now. Like right now, I just need to be present and be focusing on what I'm doing right now. And I do think like with my period coming up, I do want to spend some time during my period, like actually reflecting about what do I career, just with the career piece of the wheel of life, like what do I want, like truthfully. And not even just, maybe not the action plan of how to get there. Like the how will always figure itself out. I want to figure out the what and the why. I want to figure out the what and the why for my career as my period's coming up, so that when I like am in a space to be able to do it. But in the meantime, like you're completely right. Like for the romance, for the work, like flow, don't force, like just focus on myself, focus on what I'm doing, being present in the moment, and also like really leaning into the uncertainty, because you're right. Like I am trying to grasp at certainty. I think more so in romance than any, actually, I don't know, but like I am trying to grasp for certainty where I can, because I don't feel like I have it.
But you don't want the certainty right now. Again, we said this at the start of the year. This is going to be a year of mass uncertainty, and you need to indulge in that, really step into it and learn to live with that. And I think you've done a great job of that for the most part, and you've got a couple of more months of it. And again, you're going to look back and go, the uncertainty, I'm sure there have been situations over the last 9 months when you've been traveling where uncertainty has brought you joy and exciting things. I can think of one example, which was the uncertainty of those 24 hours we spent together going to a festival and then going straight to Wimbledon, not knowing what the fuck is happening with Wimbledon. And we had an amazing time, right? So I'm sure there's plenty of those examples, but uncertainty can be a really great thing. So don't just lean into the certainty.
Yeah, you're completely right. Honestly, like having this conversation with you, I feel so, I don't even know how to describe it right now. Like this inner peace I feel right now is next fucking level. It's a very grounding thing. I swear to God, this fucking podcast.
The feeling.
It's some shit, dude.
Tell me about it.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, wow. That was, I feel like I really got a lot from that. Holy shit. And that's crazy because we literally recorded yesterday too.
I know, but as I say, we focused on Adam, and I think that was a great thing to do.
Yeah.
And it meant we didn't run out of things to talk about today.
True. All right. Well, cool. All right. Well, guys, we'll catch you next week. We're going to have a spiritual chat about Jesus and maybe Jesus. We'll see. And we'll catch you guys next week on Mastermind Moments.
Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and follow along on social media.
If you would like us to help you mastermind something in your life, please send us a message.
We'll see you next week on the Mastermind Moments podcast.